What is preaching, and why do we preach? When you think about preaching takes up half of our gatherings when we gather together. I think it's important for us as we think about this idea of preaching that we rightly define it. So what is it? What is preaching? Is it just a guy getting up, getting really loud and passionate? Is it a lecture where information is communicated? What's the difference between a sermon and a Bible study, for example? So when we think about preaching, I think we need to think about first what it is and then why we give ourselves to it. When we think about the word preaching in the Bible, preaching refers to both formally what's happening right now, a sermon that is delivered by an elder of the church, a pastor. So that's sort of the formal sense. And we've defined preaching here, expositionally, as taking the point of the passage that is being preached, making that then the point of the sermon to the church that it's being preached, that are delivered perhaps here may not necessarily fit contextually in application, though the truth would be the same, in another location. So, for example, in an urban area or in a non-Western context. And so, preaching, in a formal sense, always takes the point of the passage and seeks to communicate that to the congregation. So it's the point of the sermon, driving that point home, and then applying that truth to the life of God's people. So that's sort of the formal sense of preaching. But the Bible also speaks about preaching in a more informal or universal way. And often when the Bible is thinking of this way, it's what we call evangelism, or merely just communicating the gospel. And so in that way, many of us have been preachers. I hope all of us at one point have the opportunity to herald or proclaim the gospel in a context in which we hope that person will follow Jesus. So whether that's at the bedside as you are telling your child about Jesus and how to follow him, or whether that's at the workplace, there at the water cooler where you're having a gospel conversation with a coworker, or whether that's in the backyard talking to a neighbor who's struggling and wanting to know how to follow after Jesus. So there is this formal sense of preaching that we see examples like Paul and Apollos and Pastor Ryan and others